Hey everybody, let's go. Isaac's been very kind to us lately on these Eden runs, so we're due for a garbage one. Ooh, careful what you wish for. Stats are okay. Item is dangerous. Hey, actually, the metronome is dangerous. Potentially good, but dangerous. And the spider bite is actually solid, but 2.83 damage is bad. 8 rate of fire is great. 1.02 speed is good enough, and our seed is TV6X80C0. Last run started in actually a position that was a little similar to this one. And ended up balling out of control due to like a well-timed Monstrous Long Brimstone. Oh, by the way, we had the Relic, you know, Lusty Blood, etc., etc. We ended up popping off. Ooh, I didn't think he could get around that corner there. Yeah, we ended up popping off on that run, and I hope that we end up having a similar sort of thing happen this time. But we're also, I do sort of, this is self-inflating. I want a difficult run. And the reason I want a difficult run, oh good, we got the belly button for one room. That should be helpful. The reason I want a difficult run is because it looks good, to be honest with you. What did we get? I didn't even see. Oh, Head of the Keeper. It looks good to win that run. When you win a run that everybody expects you to win, everyone goes, yeah, of course you won. And that's fair. There's an element of fairness there, at least. I don't choose the items that we get, but when the items are good and you win, you know, it's like the Golden State Warriors. I don't follow basketball, but I follow stats to some extent. And before the NBA season, everyone was like, well, there's like a 99% chance that it's Cleveland the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Golden State Warriors. And then it was the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Golden State Warriors. Nobody went like, a good job, you made the finals. Everyone was like, you know, congratulations, you fulfilled the expectations that were set for you. Oh, I really thought we could make it through there. But with one bomb, we should be able to access the Tinted Rock. We are in kind of a not amazing... Ooh, we had Ludo there at the end, but we're in kind of a not amazing situation damage-wise. Metronome is rarely going to be able to be relied upon to fix that for us, but I will say I'm happy to have Ludo for this room because it gives me a good opportunity to just, you know, chew up these poops and go, is there any extra money for us? Might, like, outside chance we're able to make the shop worthwhile. Now extremely outside chance. Nothing. Ooh. You know what? If you're gonna be committed to Zane, you gotta respect the metronome. It just is what it is, basically. The metronome is a Zane. Once every 2 rooms, we'll get a random item. Rarely is it gonna be anything, to be honest with you. I don't want the secret room, I want this. Rarely is it gonna be worthwhile, but in the situations in which it is worthwhile, I'm gonna be stoked. Like, for example, right now. Very, very nice damage upgrade that coincides with us getting Small Rock as well, which is a speed downgrade that we can afford, but would prefer not to. And they're, you know, honestly, it's been taken care of. So no problems. I'm just gonna head down to the next floor and be very happy with the way this floor went, with the exception of HP's in a dicey spot, but you know what? That's a good thing. It keeps us on our toes here, and we've been itching to have that happen recently. 10 cents means we don't have to shoot poop. Just the same way that love means never having to say you're sorry. You can be in Conception on this room. I can't think of more of a tease of an item right now. Can be in Conception, if he got hit enough times to kill us, would also give us greatness here. Why don't we have... Oh, because we have Pinky Eye. I didn't even notice. I just saw enemies getting poisoned, and of course, my first instinct was not to look at my trinket, but rather to go, oh, I guess the metronome carries a passive, you know, 1 in 10 chance to shoot a poison tier effect. That's my own personal foible there, but... I was also hopeful, like, I've gotten trained by the virus to be like, if I see an enemy getting poisoned, Serpent's Kiss does this too, then there's a chance that they're going to give us a black card. Obviously, not the case in this situation, but that's fine. I will take the Eternal Heart if strictly necessary, as soon as we need it. But as of right now, I'd rather keep it back there to preserve the chance of it giving us something worthwhile. So what happens there? I got Blue Candle, and as a result got nothing? Oh, don't hate me because I'm right here. You gotta take Mom's Knife. You're on 1.5 HP with no guarantee of ever getting stuff in the future. Absolutely, you take Mom's Knife in that situation. And we'll try to build synergies around it. But a deal with the Devil Mom's Knife is one thing. A Mom's Knife in which, you know, it might make the difference between success and failure is another thing altogether. Look at that. Basically, over the course of, like, 3 rooms, we went from Danger Will Robinson, you know, D.A.E. Sheldon, The Big Bang Theory, to actually being in a great spot. And you know what? We tried it, now we're gonna buy it. Cambion Conception, good item. Not really incredible for us right now, but of course has the potential to get there in the future. So next step in our plan is just not forgetting about the Eternal hardback there, which is extremely valuable. But this run really went from 0 to 60 like as quickly as a run possibly can. Short of getting like all of the Guppy items consecutively, this is like, again, you almost have to put yourself in an apologetic, like, I'm sorry sort of standpoint. Oh, and then the arcade was right next to us. Not that we would have played it with just Spirit Hearts anyway, but if we'd found this earlier, we could have had 15 cents easily. We still probably could, but I'll just blow up our donation machine. Like, that's what a donation machine at 980 cents, that's what it's there for. We've already proven we can get it back, you know? I guess we might as well look for, like, some invincibility. It's not like the metronome's doing too much else for us right now. You know what? Sure, just chew them up. 1 penny makes it all worthwhile. I was just joking. At that point, I would have required a nickel or something because that was just a little cost prohibitive from our precious life force kind of angle. Really? My brain is broken and cannot find a shop? Maybe on the left here? Yeah, definitely on the left here. Mom's Purse is more fun. Like, the stopwatch, you know what? I'm an idiot, because the stopwatch is a speed upgrade now. And maybe has been for 100 years. You wouldn't. You did! 6 cents, you know what? You learn something new every day. For example, I've learned that we live in a cold and emotionless universe, apparently. Where they won't let me get this 1 extra penny to get a speed upgrade. I mean, mind you, I'm at 1.12 speed, so it's not that bad. I'm somewhat worried that would have killed us. We did have it looked like we had enough, I think, but... And if the item had been better, I might have been more tempted to give it a shot, but... With negative 0.98 luck, I don't see the role of making Gimpy... attempting to make Gimpy work here. And hilariously, it worked for us immediately. So it just goes to show you, you know, the more you know, the less you know. People roasted George W. Bush for saying this quote. And I'm paraphrasing. And certainly, you know, I grew up as a Canadian during the Bush administration. Without making it political, I was 16 years old in 2004. You can probably guess what the general discourse was in our neighborhood and my circle of friends around 2004. But the point is, I always thought that, despite being ineloquent, he got unjustly roasted sometimes for quotes that are actually, they sound idiotic, but have some truth behind them. For example, when he said, you know, there's known unknowns and unknown unknowns, it's a ridiculous statement because it sounds silly. But it's actually like one of the smartest freaking things you could ever say. What he's admitting is that there's things that we know that we don't know, and then there's things that we can't even conceive of not knowing yet. You know, for example, like, you know, oh, we can not know, you know, the exact position of something in the celestial map, but know that it's there because of the way that it affects, you know, like light bends around it on a telescope or something like that. You go, okay, well, there has to be something of this mass here. That's an example of a known unknown. We don't know what's there, but there must be something there. That we can derive that, you know, we can deduce that. And an unknown unknown is like, you know, what planet is life on, if there is life on another planet except for Earth. You know, we can't even conceive of that at the present moment. Dude, I don't know. The metronome, I'm just going to be honest, I think it kind of stinks. I don't understand it. I'm going to take Krampus's head. Now, don't take this as me glorifying the Bush administration at all. I keep the show apolitical because I'm ignorant of it, but I understand. Just take this as like, this is my way of saying, like, I'm not saying I'm vilifying it or glorifying it. But of all the things, like, if the lasting legacy of George W. Bush is, well, I mean, obviously not just this, but people, I mean, I guess I'm just trying to say that I always thought, despite being mildly ineloquent, a lot of his sound bites that he got made fun of for are not necessarily incorrect. The known unknowns thing was the one that bothered me the most, because it was like, I actually agree with that 100%. But maybe I'm paraphrasing the quote to make it a little better in my mind as well. Also, like, you know, you can't say this as a politician, but you said, you know, a dictatorship would be alright as long as I was the dictator. I think that's just sort of a funny quote that has sinister connotations because of the era in which it was stated, but at the same time, you know, haven't any of us thought the same thing? They'd be like, man, not always, but every once in a while you're like, things would be so much better for me if I was running this show. Like, there's another, this show is in danger of becoming political at this point, but it's mostly just, I find the context interesting. Rahm Emanuel had a quote like 2 years ago, and I'm basically taking this wholesale from the Hardcore History podcast. It's something you can't say, but also has, like, you know, it's not necessarily a bad quote, where he said, you never let a good catastrophe or never let a good crisis go to waste. And, you know, what he's saying is, if something happens that allows you to push your agenda, you should take advantage of it from a political standpoint. Obviously, it's the kind of thing that happens all the time, but it's just, it's a terrible thing to say overtly, but it, you know, pulls back the veil of what's happening behind the scenes. And it's, you know, that's originally, I thought that was like a Julius Caesar quote or something, originally. You know what, that's a good time to Google that. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Who said no crisis should go to waste? Winston Churchill, that's right. It was either Julius Caesar or Winston Churchill. All right. And again, this was not in the interest of making the show political. Rather, just, it was making the show have something to do with politics for once, which is just interesting for me from a context sort of standpoint. I want to look up the known unknowns quote, because maybe I'm not giving it the disservice it deserves. Known unknowns quote. There are known. Oh, it's Donald Rumsfeld as well. It's not George W. Bush. Reports that say something hasn't happened are always interesting to me because, as we know, there are known knowns, the things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know, but there are also unknown unknowns, the ones we don't know we don't know. And if one looks throughout the history of our country and other free countries, it's the latter category that tends to be difficult ones. Dude, that phrase, although perhaps used to push an agenda, is, I think, technically true, but I might be in over my head at this point. I'm just looking at it from a linguistic standpoint. And I guess, like, putting it through, like, a scientific lens as well. That's a really interesting quote to think about. I'm pulling back the ironic veil of Northernlion right now. And now it's like, people are gonna be like, NL's personal hero was Donald Rumsfeld. Absolutely not true. My personal hero was Sam Raimi. As long as you ignore 2007 and just, like, pretend that Spider-Man 3 doesn't exist and instead imagine that he just went straight from, like, Spider-Man 2 to Drag Me to Hell. Admittedly, it's a little bit of verbal spaghetti, but at the same time, I can't find my way out of this topic of conversation. You want to talk about verbal spaghetti. Anyway, there's something we can all get behind. Spaghetti. Except for me. I feel like spaghetti is a more divisive topic than the merit of that quote. And the reason is... Excuse me. The reason is... Everybody loves spaghetti except me, and I don't understand it. I think I've just never had masterpiece theater level 10 out of 10 spaghetti. Please give me a Spirit Heart. I really could use it at this point in my life. Ooh, I'll take a Steam sale, but... You've witnessed a serious evolution of Northernlion if you've been watching these videos for long enough. You know, back in 2012, or 2011, let's say, when these videos for Isaac first started, I had probably consumed pasta. Oh, still dicey there. Maybe, like, less than a dozen times in my adult life, sincerely. And I'm like, I don't like spaghetti. It mostly came from a place of ignorance. I really didn't like pasta that much, and I still to this day almost always prefer other carbohydrates, but I have eaten a lot more pasta now. My wife enjoys Italian food, so if it's a special occasion, sometimes we'll go to a nice Italian restaurant, and that involves pasta showing up sometimes, you know? And then I eat it and I go, this is actually pretty good. And even at home, like, make like a sausage penne or a chicken Francois or chicken Francais. I don't know. I think we've Canadianized chicken Francois up here, or chicken Francais to make it chicken Francois. But anyway, I'm very into those. I love ravioli. I love, you know, penne, linguine, spaghettini, the weird like North Italian irregular pasta that I can never remember the name of. But I've just a fusilli. Even a little lasagna, which shouldn't strike you as too surprising because I know it's beloved, but for me, lasagna was like the hurdle. I was like, I don't really get it. It's like a weird deep dish pizza sort of thing that I don't fully understand, but I've gotten over it, and there's been lasagnas that I've had where I'm like, this is pretty great. At least we got secret room access here. But spaghetti, I've never had like a 10 out of 10 spaghetti, and we still have no... you know what? Check it out. That was so not worth it, but also hilarious. I've never had, I think, a 10 out of 10 spaghetti that made me respect the pasta. I think I missed out on the childhood of spaghetti, where you eat a lot of it and then you come to, like, enjoy the taste of it, even if it's not 10 out of 10. So you go, oh, this is like... I'm not trying to say that your love of spaghetti is a lie if you love spaghetti. Rather, what I'm saying is, if you eat a lot of something, you become familiar with it, you become able to recognize the good stuff, which I can't really. So I might just be deadened with respect to my senses when it comes to spaghetti, which would be a dang shame. There's no question about it. Okay, we got to get 5 cents back here. Come on, come on, come on. Let's freaking go. We'll take the map to go along with that. And as a result of missing out on that, I think that I've left myself, like, basically my spaghetti senses are deadened. I can't respect spaghetti. I wish I could. Maybe one day I'll get there. That'll be the cruel joke of nature, is that I'll have a son, he'll look exactly like my hero, Donald Rumsfeld, and then every meal will be like, cook me spaghetti, and I'm like, son, you don't understand. I don't know how long to cook the noodles for. Can't I just make you a mother sauce instead? Can't I just make you a chili? Chili's kind of like spaghetti with no noodles, with bean noodles. No, I want the spaghetti. All right, Donald, you're gonna have the spaghetti. I'm sorry, Christopher. Okay, this is a weird episode, man. This is normally you're like, NL, can you get to the point where you say, like, hey, your brain's fried from recording so much Isaac, and this is going to be the last episode of the day because you're broken? Nah, this is like the 3rd Isaac episode of what promises to be a long day recording Isaac. So we're off the freaking rails. Already praised, you know, the 2004 era Bush administration. No, I didn't. We're making it a joke at this point, but all I'm saying is, for all the things... To roast them over, that quote, it makes me mad because even if I don't understand it, they're like, please don't talk about this again. But I feel like the quote makes sense. Maybe it was used to justify something that doesn't make sense. But I think if we forget who said it and we just go, you know, you talk about the concept of unknown unknowns and known unknowns. I actually feel there's a nugget of self-awareness in there that I respect a lot. It's like the spirit of science is known unknowns and unknown unknowns. There's things that we don't know that we can actively, you know, structure experiments to try to find out. I don't know, I say we as if, you know, me and the other scientists. They just invite me along because I'm a preternatural talent, but, you know, You can structure experiments to try to find that stuff out, and then there's stuff that we can't even conceive of yet. Of course, now the justification was not used for a magical, like, you know, human nature sort of thing, but even at the time, I was like, the quote strikes me as not being as roastable. But again, it comes down to both sides as well. Like, the whole Howard Dean thing, you think, oh my god, like, Howard Dean got torn apart in the media because he got excited he won a primary, and then we're gonna go to Idaho, we're gonna go to Colorado, and then we're gonna go to Washington to take back the White House. Woo! You know, he made, admittedly, it's a, my man, it's a weird sound. Don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's a different era. See, the reason I don't like Howard Dean is gone on record many times as saying 2 first names, can't trust anybody with 2 first names. Ooh. We don't have Gimpy. This red heart, please give me a spirit heart out of it. Oh, I mean, we gotta be a little cautious here, no doubt. Apparently my idea of caution is giving up like half my HP to that situation right there, but what do you got for me? Okay, I mean, this is like, I've created this monster. But the general gist of this is that I probably should not have to worry about our HP like a couple of waves deep here. Watch out for enemies that shoot beams. And apart from that, stay far, far away. Wait for red hearts to drop. This is our nightmares. An enemy that shoots beams. Wow. Combined with an enemy that disappears. He's done it. Just waiting on these red hearts, dude. We got 1.02 luck. I don't believe the game will allow us to never get another consumable. But I'm, like, honestly very frightened about this situation. But it's so obviously, like, a net positive in the long term if we can just get a spirit heart to keep ourselves alive. Or even some red hearts to keep ourselves alive for the time being. Like, it's actually, like, Tech X is a 10 out of 10 pickup. The only reason it's dicey is because, I mean, the obvious, I think. Okay, 2 enemies that shoot beams. Swell. The only reason it's dicey at all is because of the lack of HP that it's left us with, you know, in the present moment. If we can get 2 spirit hearts, this goes from like a 3 out of 10 survivability to a 10 out of 10. What are you? I'm you, but stronger. I was put on like a Robert Redford voice for that. I don't understand. First off, because that's just like American great uncle voice. American Great Uncle, my favorite Kanye West song. Take me to Costco, I wanna eat buffet. I really want to lecture at you. Take me far away from here, American Uncle. Let's see. That is more impressive than you would expect, because I think I've heard American Girl like 4 times in my entire life, believe it or not. I know it's a very popular song. Or was 8 years ago. And one of those times was Dan Giesling doing it at karaoke. So, not necessarily representative of the of the song completely. Not that I would do any better, I'm just saying. Dude, no consumables, huh? That's the kind of boss rush this is gonna be. We've been hit once, which is completely acceptable if we just hadn't gone down to like 0 HP. Dare I suggest, like, that we deserve more credit for playing a video game. Certainly that's an absurd thing to begin with here, but, like, we had no reason to double down on making this already incredibly strong run any stronger. I've done it for entertainment's sake, and it may come back to bite me in the butt, so... Again, I'm not saying, like, oh, you guys, you know, you owe me. All I'm saying is recognize that this is a bit of an exceptional scenario. And I sincerely can't believe we've got no consumables. We did all of Boss Rush and got no heart. It's really, really bad because it means if we get a hit once, we'll die. So the boss fights are probably to our, like, lower right here. We gotta, like, try to bomb our way through. Nope, so we gotta do the big room. I'll be straight up with you. I'm like 50-50 if we're gonna die on this floor. If we don't die on this floor, we will probably win the run. But, like, I have never seen, or at least recently have not seen, a run be so uncooperative. The most common consumable has not shown up, given, like, 18 opportunities. So Black Rune is fantastic. Come on. Come on. Come on, though. That was... actually frightening. So, you know what? Good learning lesson. Don't take these enemies for granted, dude. I know you're gonna hook me up. You can't not hook me up. Can't be the bad pill at this point. We should go back. Hopefully not a greed fight. Didn't mean to be here. Oh, I've squandered this. Is there a second one? There is. We've made it through the hard part. It's a greed fight. Dude, I'm being straight up with you. This run is cruel. Thank you. We need it. That's not for you. Not yet. One of these days. But not right now. He deflected off the edge. If I may take the opportunity to complain about a run that has Tech X and Mom's Knife, I do want to point out we do have 3.75 damage. 3.75 damage with Mom's Knife is not equal to 3.75 damage without Mom's Knife. It's like the, you know, oh, my rate of fire is 20, but I have chocolate milk. You know, it's still way, way, way better than normal. But now we're at 4.18. This is well below average Mom's Knife or not. Now, the fact that we can spam these shots so quickly is worth a lot as well. This will definitely not be a hush fight. Instead, we're just going straight up here. And I'm still, I mean, I did say if we live, there's a great chance we're going to win the entire run. And I still believe that. But it's not like we picked up a ton of help there. I mean, even the next red heart, as far as I'm concerned, should go to me. And then at that point, we'll start giving him back to Dark Bomb, which only exists because of Cambion Conception to begin with, but this is like a rare situation in which Cambion Conception into Dark Bomb is anything but, like, at least 8 out of 10. That room is actually really easy. And I'm saying that predominantly because I just made it through it without getting hit, otherwise I'd be singing a different tune. With lyrics changed to represent the fact that we're playing the Binding of Isaac. But I still think, you know, if you just sit back and take a second there, that room's not so bad. We do have 1.5 speed, though. With a little bit on the lower side of speed, it might be a different situation. This is a nasty room. I can't spam the shots as often as you'd think. I'm not sure if it's like there's some kind of deleterious Mom's Knife plus Tech X thing going on, but it's not as easy as just tap shooting. The tap shooting is not working. Our rate of fire might be like slightly too slow to tap shoot here. But you're probably right. If you're watching this and you're going, why is this dude not taking advantage of the fact that he has the ability to spam these Tech X shots? You are probably getting pretty close to the meat of the issue when it comes to our DPS. I think the other part of the issue here is that, well, there's two parts. One is that we want to hit with Mom's Knife because it also does a lot of damage, so if we can get the best of both worlds, it's good. But the other part is just that our raw damage is kind of stinky. It's like a Limburger. That was the go-to stinky cheese when I was a kid watching cartoons. What is it? It's probably like Stilton now. Back in the day, it was like, Limburger! April! Alright, we want to Black Rune everything. Get out of here. Good damage up. I mean, we knew they were going to be stats up, so it's nice, but we now have 6.18 damage, which is like almost pretty good. And again, 6.18 damage with Mom's Knife is like, you know, 15 damage without it. It's a half heart, so it belongs to me. And our boss fight is... It seems to be in a pretty obvious location here. Just down in the bottom left. This was such a weird run. Because I asked for a difficult run. It didn't really deliver. Like, we have two of the strongest items in the game combined. So, like, I'm not at all complaining. Plus, we have Dark Bum, one of, like, the best defensive items in the game, bar none. And yet, still, I find myself being like, why are we not steamrolling? And I think we had, like, deceptively bad stats. But the run was not bad. I put it in a bad spot. I wouldn't say intentionally, but I put it in a bad spot by taking Tech X, which we didn't need, but it added a nice little, like, long-range factor. If you had told me that taking Tech X would have meant we'd never get a Spirit Heart again, like, if you told us, I mean, it's not like there's causality there, but if you have told us that after taking Tech X we'd never get another Spirit Heart, I wouldn't have taken it. I would have justifiably frightened. So it might not look like it, but we did have to play relatively well to bring this run to what seemed to be its obvious conclusion, like its prophesied victory. We might get a payout. In fact, I think we're essentially guaranteed a payout. Might not be a Spirit Heart, but the game does like to make a liar out of me. Why did that sentence come out so strangely? Dude, this happens so frequently. Getting Eden's Blessing at the very end of a run. And it's so nice, because now you go, you know what? I'm excited for the next Eden run. So we're going to start with a little extra value. And no void. Another fast one, but this one was scary. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, though, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time.